Hey, you ever wonder how exactly does Reiner Knizia cook up all of those games of his? Uh,
That was only mildly terrifying.
Poison is a hand management card shedding game from Reiner Knizia that I think is, of his games that I've played, his most underrated game. Poison has actually been reprinted numerous times under multiple different names and themes, such as 13, Friday the 13th, Baker's Dozen, different versions of Poison, etc., etc., all being strangely thematic, since the key mechanism is about groups of cards whose values exceed 13. Personally, though, my favorite version of the game is this one. It comes in a couple sizes from a couple different publishers. I actually think the name and maybe more generic theme of Poison actually really suits the game because it makes it feel a little bit more like a traditional card game. It sounds like something you might play with a deck of 52 cards if you've played Poison, which I think ultimately leads to the game being a little bit more approachable. Also, I think this is unironically the funniest board game cover that I've ever seen. Reiner Knizia himself brewing up concoctions is hilarious to me. Back of the box literally saying the Mad Doctor has cooked up something evil in this clever strategy game. And no matter how many times this game has been reprinted, I think that this version is absolutely peak, as you probably surmised from the thumbnail and the sketch at the beginning. But enough of that, let's just talk about the game itself. I just saw someone buying a copy of Uno at Target just a couple days ago. And it really made me stop and think. You know, games like Uno and Phase 10 and Skip-Bo are extremely popular because of their ease to learn and to play, almost as time wasters. A lot of people have expressed this to me that, oh, you know, we have nothing else better to do. We'll pull out a game of cards, something to pass the time, a means to an end almost. But some people love them for the game itself as well. However, the unfortunate thing is, I think a lot of those games, even though they're extremely approachable and ridiculously popular, they don't have the depth, richness that an actual good game really should deliver to the audience. Poison, I believe, is actually one of the best examples of a game that has that approachability of those mass market games that I think people could pick up and it could be a go-to game while not sacrificing any of the quality of the game inside the box. Accessibility and substance. In Poison, you are trying to get rid of the cards in your hand while not overflowing the cauldrons in the middle of the table. There are always 3 pots in play with different colors. Once a pot's accumulative value exceeds 13, you have to take all the cards in the pot, except the one that you just added, to score. And having cards is bad. The round ends once all the cards have been played, and players compare the number of cards they have left in their scoring piles of each suit. Cards are each worth a point, and poison cards are worth 2. And even though points are bad, the classic Knizia twist of this game comes from the fact that if you have the most of any given color, more than any other player has, you get to get rid of those from your scoring pile and they don't count as negative points for you. Then, least points wins. Poison does something wonderful by taking a very simple premise, right? And on your turn, you're getting rid of 1 card from your hand in one of 3 possible locations. It takes very simple turn play and gives you some incredible subtle decision making. Do you purposely play low cards to keep the pots low? Play high cards to bait your opponents to bust. Intentionally bust in an effort to get as many of a certain color as possible so you don't have to score them at the end of the game. Or place a poison in a pot and just hope that you don't get stuck with it when it comes back around to you. And because of this, Poison does a phenomenal job of creating that boisterous, fun, loud environment around the table that I think a lot of people like about these kinds of card games, with vibrant dynamics forming between the players every turn as you're watching and you're counting down. All the while not sacrificing the serious decisions you have to make on each turn. And all in all of the engagement, all of those weighty choices, it's going to lead to a lot of fun and laughs around the table. And what's interesting to me is that this packs all of that dynamic energy that we're talking about of these uber popular mass market games that people like, right? But Poison delivers that same energy to your game night without the egregious amounts of chance and lack of control and just kind of playing the game out, and you're able to play a nice, solid card game that actually has a finite end that doesn't outstay its welcome. In fact, you could even choose to play less rounds or more rounds depending on the table's preference. It doesn't really matter. It's all still a wonderful experience no matter how you do it. I think Poison is the kind of game that everyone should have in their home, everyone should have in their collection, and it should be readily available in an approachable package. It has that ease to learn and play like those famous mass market games, but carries with it nuance and subtlety and the depth of an actual solid game design. I'd love to see an updated version of this widely available that has this theme, kind of this aesthetic, because I just think it really fits. It's really funny. Maybe in one of the more smaller, compact styles of printing. In fact, it was just announced in Poland from the same publishers who brought us the delightful frog version of High Society. They're reprinting Poison next year. That looks really fun, and I really hope I can get my hands on a copy of that as well. I do like the art style and vibes, and I'd love for that to become widely available to everyone as well. But ultimately, if you haven't had a chance to play Reiner Knizia's Poison in any of its forms, this is my hearty recommendation to check it out in whatever version you can find. It may not be for everyone, but I think based on what you've seen here, you could probably determine whether it is for you or your game group or not. Personally, it's one of my all-time favorite little card games with colors and numbers on cards that's easy to pull out and teach to gamers and non-gamers alike, and I hope to spread the love for this game for anyone who hasn't had a chance to play this little gem yet. And that's all for Knizia Week from us. I've been wanting to talk about Poison and my enthusiasm about it for a while now, and I figured it would be a good cap to just this fun little week of silly sketches and Knizia coverage that we've been doing. And if you like Poison or any of the versions of Poison, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know which version is your favorite and why. And in the meantime, thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and for playing board games like it.
If you like my games so much, why don't you do a list of your favorites? It's about time, isn't it?
Well then.